Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Chai with Gary. It's been a while, Chai. We caught up in Melbourne. We went for
Yeah.
what was it, the Melbourne victory game? About
Yes.
what, 3 weeks
The
ago, two
Melbourne
weeks
victory.
ago?
Yeah.
Melbourne victory. Got a victory in Melbourne.
Yep.
But yeah, look, how did you see preseason going?
Man, I think there were parts of the preseason that were impressive, right? I think we started off with a bang with Liverpool. And then Melbourne victory, although the first half was absolute shite, it reminded me a lot of what we did last season. And the same frustrations kind of came back. But the second half was good. Youngsters did really well in that game. So big shout out to them. There were some bright spots in the team itself and how they were set up. I think Den Hag is working some of his, um, I guess, how do I put it? Not magic. I wouldn't call it magic, but he's just trying to put a stamp on the team. So
Philosophy.
yeah, philosophy. That's right. There were shades of that, but then for some reason, the last three games, I think the draw against Aston Villa, I think, and Perth. I mean, you can blame it on the stadium, but it's the same stadium for both teams. So I don't know if you can use that as an excuse. It was terrible weather down in Perth. But yes, since that draw, I don't think we've we've done much, right? So the last two against the Spanish teams, I don't think we did much. Atletico Madrid, maybe we had a few chances, we just had to convert them, but it ended up being a loss, and the last one was a draw. So I believe that there are parts of it that I'm happy about, there are parts of it that I'm unhappy about, or it remains the same, really. But what disappoints me the most is how inactive we are in the transfer window. And what I think we need to discuss and address immediately is the fact that we're almost getting close to the end of the transfer window. We had some underlying issues last season, which became very apparent towards the fag end of Ralph Ragnick's era. I don't think we've done anything to address the midfield. I don't know what's happening with Ronaldo, so there's a big gap or a hole in the striking. We don't have backup strikers and stuff like that. But all of last year's problems still exist, and here we are, not supporting or not. How do I put? What's the word, Gary? I'm looking at. We're not
We're not
supporting the
looking
manager. The
forward.
board's failed him, right? Again,
Yeah.
another
Look,
manager, another same story. How do you see it?
yeah. Look, I was super excited going to this season. I was a new
Yeah.
manager. We thought he's going to bring his philosophy. He brought his coaches in. Preseason looked good. You look at all the videos Man United are posting, of bloody Martial controlling the ball like there's no tomorrow. And obviously, he's injured now, naturally. And we've got, Sancho as well, like really, really impressing in training. Though there's a general good vibe around the team. Going to Liverpool, my expectations were we were going to get trashed. Surprisingly, we
Yeah.
didn't, and we actually outplayed them. But to be fair, Liverpool had put out their youth team.
Yep.
And then, in the second half, when they changed the teams around, you could see clearly the difference in standards, the gulf in class between the two
Yeah.
teams. And so there was a clear need to address the shortcomings of the team. Okay, so fine. Then we started our tour in Australia. I can't remember. Was it Melbourne we played? Yeah,
Yeah, it
Melbourne was
was
the next
Melbourne.
team
Yeah.
we played.
Yeah.
Again, dude, like there's just I think the problem United is there is just a major gulf of difference in class when it comes to the first team and the second team. And added to the fact that we made complete changes to the team. I can't remember in any of the games where we had played the same team that finished the last 45 from the
Yeah.
previous game. And that
Yeah.
is naturally going to cause a lot of issues with rhythm and your style of play. And yeah, the key thing I wanted to take away is that we need signings. That's clear. The manager, I don't know if it's a case of he's not been backed or whether it's more a case of he's quite selective in the players that he wants. We can
Yes.
talk about De Jong. We've been talking about De Jong for the last 3 months. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it, Chai. I don't want to talk about it anymore. But here we are, 3 months later, and we're still talking about De Jong. We wanted Anthony. Anthony is nowhere to be seen. And now, because we're
Yeah.
going so deep into the transfer window, Ajax have basically put like $100 million tag on him, and we can't afford him right now. And so basically, yes, I do feel like the board have failed Ten Hag, but at the same time, I think Ten Hag has got a very single-minded approach in terms of what players he wants, and potentially that's also causing harm in terms of what players we get. So it's a mixture of two issues that I think something's got to
Mm,
give. If we
mhm,
can't get the players that he wants, then he's got to be realistic and say, okay, who else can we go and get? Because there is going to be major problems once injuries kick in. Like with the likes of Sancho, you saw the game against Atletico when Sancho was out. The right hand flank chai just died.
mm,
Dalo
mm.
had no options. Elanga is bloody useless. Let's not
Yeah,
even talk about Elanga. So there is that issue with respect to players. We've got to strengthen our team.
which is which is what we've been. We needed a midfield now. And today we start a season against Brighton, and that's a game that has gone horrendously badly for us in the past. Um, but what my concern is we're starting probably the same midfield as we cursed all of last season. I think McFred will start. I think
Oh
that's a given
God.
right now. But let's talk about what we've achieved in the transfer or not achieved in the transfer window so far. We have three players coming in, one of which was a free transfer, free agent, basically in Christian Eriksen. I think he'll strengthen the squad, but not sure what his runway is, right? The second, there are a couple of defenders, one left back from Feyenoord. It's okay, but there's a defender in
You don't
Martinez,
rate
I
him,
think.
Chai.
I well, I haven't seen much of him to be honest, so I don't know how he'll fit. I think again we had two left backs and we signed another one, which is not shouldn't have been the priority. But
Mm.
again, look, we do strange things in the transfer window, and Alex Telles is on loan now, so um, I think we're strengthening in areas that are not important, and that's always
Mm.
been the trend for United over the past few seasons. I was hoping with the new structure in the club, I think that mold would have broken, but apparently not. So yes, I'm worried. I don't think we'll challenge for anything serious this season. I think our ambitions going in should be top four and securing a Champions League spot, and go as deep into the UEFA Cup as much as possible. I think that's our only hope, unless and until you see things differently.
I I honestly don't know what to say. And the concerning thing for me is that we go into this season. All right, we've not gotten many of our top targets. We've still made some good signings. I think Eriksen's a great player. He showed it at
Mm-hmm.
Tottenham, really one of their best players when he was playing there. Went to
Yeah,
Inter Milan, probably didn't get used in the position that he's used to,
yeah,
and now he's back. Despite all the things that happened to him on a personal level with
yeah,
that collapse, field collapse,
yep, yeah.
he's come back really strong. He pulled up trees in Brentford, was probably one of their best players. So I'm really,
Mm-hmm.
really pumped up about Eriksen. Malacia, from what I've seen, really, really promising. The way he
Yeah.
attacks on the ball, he's aggressive. He's not afraid to take on players. I think he's shown a lot of good attributes that I would have liked to see in Luke Shaw, but Luke Shaw's never fit.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really hopeful that Malaysia gets a chance to prove to everyone, what a good player he is. And then the third one, who do we sign? Oh, Martinez. Yeah, look,
Martinez.
I'm concerned because every time we sign a Dutch player from the Dutch league,
Yeah,
it's always, it can go either way, 50-50.
yeah.
But I think I'm sort of confident on what he's able to do because he's played under Ten Hag before. He's probably Ajax's best player last season. Just
Mm,
looking at what Ajax fans had to say, he's probably one of their best players, and I'm really
mm,
happy we got him. But that still leaves a gap in midfield that we've not really addressed, Chai. We
yeah.
keep talking about McFred, and we go into this new season with McFred potentially starting over Ericsson, which is again
Van
a
de
concern.
Beek, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where we'd finish in. I think the concerning thing also is that whenever you look or you talk to any United fan, no one is talking about us finishing the top four. I mean, what kind of
Mm,
bullshit is that? We're
yeah.
United. We should be at a bare minimum be looking at top four. But when you talk to people, it's all about, oh, we've got to, potentially finish fifth or sixth. I mean, that's not acceptable for where I'm at with my club.
Mm-hmm.
I know we've got
Mm-hmm.
a lot of issues in the club, but
Mm-hmm.
you've got to address the issues, and you've got to get to a point in the transfer market where you've gotten the players, or you've backed the
Yeah.
players, and to know and to believe that you can at least finish top four. So I'm just a bit worried about that as well. I think that's not acceptable from
That's
where.
there are two ways to look at it as well. We've addressed what we could have done in the transfer window, but what worries me the most, or more than what we've not done in the transfer window, is just to see the other teams around us strengthening further, right? So, I mean, Man City and Liverpool were I think there was a gap between both of those clubs and the rest of the pack, right? They've gone ahead and strengthened further, right? Albeit they've lost a few players in the mix as well, but still they have gone ahead and strengthened. Arsenal's gotten the players they wanted, which is good, and you saw them against Crystal Palace to grind out a good victory
Mm,
there.
mm,
Um, so Tottenham's gotten good players. Chelsea have lost a few, bought in a few. So all the teams around us and the teams that we think are our challengers or our competition, direct competition, have all strengthened, right? Which gets me worried about the current state of the squad. The only thing that will change is mentality in the squad, right? So if you don't go by other players, a lot of it then rests on what Ten Hag can do and how much of a tactician he is to beat teams around us. So you remember last season we were overjoyed by Ronaldo joining. So there was obviously, when we first started the season, there was a bit of tailwinds coming from that signing, right? And signings do improve the morale. This season we're starting off as we did Jose's third season at United,
yeah.
right? Or albeit second, end of second, I don't know. It seems like a distant past, but he was unhappy with the players they didn't sign or the board didn't give him. And then we started off with a lull, and I think that carried on through the season, where eventually he lost his job by December, right? I have a feeling we're starting off the season with the Ronaldo saga, with the Frankie de Jong lack of signing or lack of progress in signing midfielders. I have a feeling we're going down that route, which is what
Mm.
bothers me more than anything else.
Yeah, I think the best way to describe it is we went into this preseason optimistic because a new
Yeah.
manager, new philosophy, new style of play.
Yeah.
Everyone was optimistic. There was a good,
Mm.
positive feeling around the club with respect to what we were going to do this season. 3 months down the line now, after preseason starts, or end of the last season, and we
Mm.
haven't gotten our top targets. We
Hmm.
haven't gotten Frankie de Jong. Ronaldo's. I don't even want to talk about Ronaldo because if you say anything bad, then people are going to jump on your back, because obviously he's a club icon for the team and has
Mm.
been an icon for a number of years now.
Yeah.
It comes to a point where, do you really want to keep him with all the drama and the issues that's going to cause around the team? There's clear evidence. There's a dressing room, you know, difference in opinions on who should be leading
Absolutely.
the team with respect to Maguire and Ronaldo. Is that something you really want to have going to this new season? It's going to cause a lot of issues. And now that Ten Hag has said that Maguire is going to be the captain, is
Yeah.
that going to cause issues with the Ronaldo fanboys in the dressing room? I don't know. These are all things that are causing a bit of a concern going to this new season. And I get the feeling, Chai, all that positivity that we took into the preseason is now slowly dissipating, slowly, as we go
Mm.
into the game tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's not ideal. We don't want to be in that situation with a lot of negativity around us even before we kick
Yeah.
off,
Kick the
the
first
game
ball, right?
tomorrow. It's ridiculous, but I just hope that the only optimism I have is that we now have a manager
Mm-hmm.
who I believe controls that dressing room. He's not
Yeah.
going to take bullshit. I mean, you saw that with that last game with Rayo Vallecano, where Ronaldo decided to leave along with, I think what, 5 or 6 other players halftime.
Mm-hmm.
Tanak came out and he said, "Look, guys, it's not acceptable. From now on, going forward, that will not happen again. All
Mm-hmm.
right, let's bygones be bygones. Going forward,
Mm-hmm.
you as a team player will not leave the you'll not leave at halftime. You'll wait until the game finishes, and then yeah."
Look, I think Ten Hag. The optimism. I think. I, let's talk about bright spots a little bit, right? I think the doom and gloom. Yes, we've figured it out. I think even it took a while for Klopp at Liverpool to dust off all the, I guess, deadwood in the club to bring in the players he wants. So maybe it won't happen in one season. Maybe it'll happen over time. So that's okay. Let's see what happens. Going forward. I just want to make sure that this person in Ten Hag outlast the patience of fans, clubs, owners, etc. I just wish he does, and I think we should invest more time in him. And these players worry me as well because they can throw people under the bus. I hope it won't happen with Ten Hag.
Mm.
So yeah, there's a bit of doom and gloom. I agree. Moving into the season, but there were a few bright spots, right? So let's actually address them before we go into how teams around us are doing and probably get a
Next
quick
prediction.
thoughts on our match tonight. So, look, I think there were a few youngsters who made a name for themselves in the preseason. I think the likes of Iqbal, the likes of Savage, they they did well. They did relatively well. So, do you think you'll see more of that attitude coming into the team, where Ten Hag is always like the youth, and even at Ajax, it was relatively a young team that was challenging for the. I think it was the semifinals of the Champions League as well a couple of seasons,
Yeah.
2-3 seasons ago. Van de Beek and De Jong being a major part of that team, and I have a feeling he'll promote the youth, and I think the youth team did have some credibility coming out of this preseason, don't you think?
Yeah, the one thing that is quite positive for me is the way that the Ajax and Manchester United philosophy has always been about youth development.
Mm-hmm.
In that respect, I think Tanak is also in the mold of yes, we need to develop our young players.
Mm-hmm.
There's a saying that goes, if you're good enough, you're old enough. And
Yep.
so when I look at like the key players that I mentioned, even at the Crystal Palace game, sorry, the Melbourne Victory
Melbourne
game, Chai,
McQueen, yeah.
Zidane Iqbal is one player I am so impressed with. The
Yes.
way he controlled the midfield, his understanding of where he needs to be, where his teammates are, what passes to
Mm.
make, when to pass,
Mm.
when to dribble. He's got that understanding that very very few players at that age has got. And
Yes.
so for me, I think he is going to be a player that I believe will get
Mm-hmm.
chances in the first team. Maybe not
Yep.
in the Premier League, but then we've also got the Europa League, League Cup, and
Mm-hmm.
FA Cup.
Yep.
There's no reason why we can't play good young players in those games. So I think
Yes.
Zidane Iqbal is one player to look out for. Ganacho,
Not sure. Mm.
I don't know. I've got to see him a bit more. I'm just a bit. I think he's a bit one-dimensional, a bit like Rashford. I
Mm.
think he's got pace, a lot of pace,
Mm-hmm.
but I think he still needs to develop his game a bit more. Aside from pace, I don't know what else he brings to the team.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and especially in the Premier League, when you're going against fullbacks who are probably faster than wingers,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
it's you've got to bring something else more to your game. Though few bright sparks that I saw from the Rayo Vallecano game was that he kept finding passes to Tai Chong, which are good.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't as greedy as probably Rashford is right now. So that kind of brings a bit more positivity in terms of potentially we might see him in some of the non-crucial games potentially. So he
Mm-hmm.
could play there. Charlie Savage is the same. I think he keeps things really simple. He sort of reminds
Yep.
me of a younger Matic.
Exactly. I was
I
about to
just
say,
think,
yep.
yeah, he just reminds me of a younger Matic. And him and Zidane, I think they just complement each other. Where
Correct.
Zidane kind of carries the ball, and then Charlie Savage is there to kind of ping passes, across
Exactly.
the wings
And
and things.
they have that how do I put it, they have that understanding because they play for the youth team anyway, right? So that they have played with each other, they know each other's game, so that's the definite positive. But what did you think about Marshall and Sancho? I think apart from the youth, I think those two had some bright sparks through the game. Rashford's kind of improving. Do you think that is a function of Ronaldo not being in the team?
Look, Chai, Sancho is probably my player of the preseason, if you want to call it that. The way
Yeah.
I believe, see, I always believe this when you have players who actually play football, as opposed to
Yep.
run around the pitch. I think they just improve the team overall.
Mm-hmm.
Players like Martial and Sancho, they're so good on the ball and the movement and the way they pick passes. They just create a lot of avenues for the team. And
Mm-hmm.
so I saw Sancho and Dalot, form a formidable relationship on that right flank,
Yep.
where as soon as you saw Sancho go off and Elanga come in, Dalot just completely died. So I
Mm.
think even with Martial now, unfortunately, he's injured. Him
Yep.
and Sancho also had a good relationship, and Sancho and Rashford, sorry, and Martial and Rashford also have that relationship. So I think that front three looks really good together. But
Yep.
then as soon as the front three get injured, I just worry about the quality in depth that we need to address it, Chai. I think
We,
there's there's no two ways about it. We need new players coming in. We need quality players coming in
yep.
who can step in case Sancho or Martial gets injured. And let's be
Yep.
frank, Martial's injury record is not great.
Yep.
Last season I don't even know how many days he was out, and then
Yep.
when he went to Seville, I think he was also injured there. So I am concerned about the quality and depth,
Yep.
but I know my expectations is top four. My expectation is top four. I still believe we can get top four,
Mm-hmm.
but I still think we need one or two more signings before we go into the new season.
Absolutely, and ideally, those two signings would be somewhere in the. I think one midfielder for sure and one forward. I think that will complete at least what's been thus far a um, very dull transfer window, if you want to say that.
Mm. Hey,
Just
Chai,
quickly
let me ask
moving
you.
on. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
top six. What do you think the
Top.
final standings are?
Look, I have a feeling. I'm going to keep United out of this discussion for now, and then we'll build the top 4, 5, and then we'll see how United kind of compete against within those top 5. Right? I have a feeling City will probably win again. I have a feeling, but then they're depleted with Jesus leaving and even Sterling leaving. It just becomes it becomes a matter of how Haaland performs and how the team kind of reshapes itself post their departures. So that's City will still be, I think, edge out Liverpool. I think Liverpool yesterday, from what I saw, they didn't have a shot on target up until late in the second half. Not late in the second half, but probably close to the second half. Which I don't know. It's not very usual for the teams as well, right? So it's not usual for Liverpool to be that lopsided or
Mhm.
for them to be so dominant. I think. So the first two is easy. The third and the fourth will be Chelsea and Tottenham. I think the 3 and 4, I have a feeling, and then Arsenal will be in the mix. So that's the top 5. But what we have to consider this season as well is the players leaving for the World Cup. Now that might
Mm.
reshuffle things. That will give teams in the middle of the table like Leicester and stuff like that a good chance because they don't have a lot of international players. With the players they have, they usually put up a good fight. So it's very key to see how those teams shape up, right? The
Mm.
mid-table teams with quality players but not necessarily internationals, I think those teams will do really well. Having said that, if most most of the United team will be at the World Cups as well, right? So I don't know how we deal with it.
Mm.
Most of the they will go to the World Cup, but they won't play.
They
So,
won't play.
so they'll be one on
Hey,
the
it's
bench
a
somewhere.
free trip.
It's a
Free
free trip,
trip.
yes,
Yeah,
to a hot country during the
I like to
winter.
go there.
So yeah, so that's what I think. There's this team. Ten Hag, in a way, if he can promote the youth and get them game fit for and even compete against their, I don't know, compete or get into the first team, I think they'll make a big difference when all the major players are gone. Right. So that's my top
Mm.
5, right? Top 5 will be City, not in any order, right? City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Tottenham, and Arsenal. Now the sixth, maybe us. Who else would be there? I don't know.
What, you're placing us potentially beyond six?
Yeah, if Leicester has a better season than us,
Oh
yes.
my God. Okay.
Right.
All right.
So look at this. The reason. Okay, I'll tell you why I don't know how this can shape out. Right. We potentially have a weaker midfield than we did last season with the departures of Pogba and Matic. Let's accept that as a fact. Right. To replace two potential midfielders that have left and Mata as well. So 3 midfielders have left. We've bought in Ericsson and to replace Mata. That's a one-on-one straight swap that I'm okay with. No one to replace Matic. No one to replace Pogba.
Mm,
We have Van de Beek coming back, but I don't know how he's not impressed me in the preseason. So for me, it
mm,
doesn't count. So we have a potentially weaker midfield in terms of bench strength and the playing 11 itself. How
mm,
are we then going to perform better this season compared to last? That's my worry.
mm. Yeah. Look, my take is going to be a bit controversial, but I have a sneaky feeling.
Oh, mate.
I feel Tottenham might pull a rabbit out of the bag, and they might actually win the Premier League. I just get
Tottenham.
a yeah. I just got a sneaky feeling they're going to surprise a lot of people.
Yeah.
They look. The reason why I say this is one, they've got Conte. He is proven winner, and I know for a fact when he signed that contract extension with Tottenham, he made it clear that he needs to have all the players that he wants. Obviously
Mm,
reasonable players that the club of the size of Tottenham can get. But he made it clear to the board that these are the players I want. You get me these players, or I'm out of here.
mm-hmm.
Third is, I think, like I mentioned, the World Cup is coming up. Potentially, Tottenham might be a bit better off because they don't really have a lot of key starters in national teams. Maybe apart from Son and Kane, the rest of
Yeah.
them may potentially just stay on, and they could be rested up for the second of the season. And I think with what's happening at City and Liverpool, I don't know if they've really impressed me that much. City have sold Jesus, they've sold Sterling, two of their primary attackers, and now
Mm,
potentially I heard that Bernardo Silva is potentially going to Barcelona as well. So that's going to severely handicap Man City, I think.
mm.
And then Liverpool is, yeah, they've sold, who do they sell?
They
Mane. They
sold
sold
Mane,
Mane.
right?
Yeah, but I think that's a big loss. They've not really replaced him, and then they've got
Yeah,
Darwin
well,
Nunes, who
Darwin Núñez, I think he'll fit
is
in,
he?
right?
I reckon. I don't know. I don't know whether
Mm.
he's the
The
quality.
different,
And to be honest, Chai, I'm so happy we didn't get him because you're trying to bank all your money on a player who had one good season in the
mm,
Portuguese league, which no disrespect is still a lot more inferior to a lot of the other big leagues in Europe.
yeah,
He had like a pretty decent run in the Champions League. That's fine, but
mm.
I don't know if that's a good enough gamble for you to pay close to 100 million. That's a big gamble if you ask
But
me.
you know what they've done? They've strengthened their plan B, right? With Darwin Núñez, it's so when he's working towards a plan B. That's at least that's what I get from that
Yeah,
signing, right? It's not like the front three who just keep attacking like Mane, Firmino, and
and Salah.
Salah. They've
Hmm.
just slightly tried to change that a little bit, and Jota is still there, right? Jota is still there. He can fit in as easily, and he showed last season that he could fit in as easily as Mane can, and he could
Yeah,
replace that hole. So yes, money going away is a problem, but then again, you know, they won't be they won't finish out of the top four, right? They can't. I think
mm.
it's going to be really something has to terribly change by struck by
Yeah.
injuries or
Look,
whatever
I think
for
I
them to
think
finish
City and
out.
Liverpool will be in the top four, but I
Yeah.
question about the league position at the end. I feel
Mm-hmm.
that City could potentially come in second. So
Mm-hmm.
my top four is Tottenham, and
Mm-hmm.
then City,
Mm-hmm.
Liverpool,
Mm-hmm.
and I think fourth may be Chelsea.
Yeah. Yeah.
United's not in the top four, and then I feel like fifth will be United and sixth will be Arsenal. So for me, unless we get De Jong, I can't
Yeah.
see us finishing the top four. Chai, I honestly can't.
No, I
That
I
midfield
don't.
is abysmal.
Yes, I don't see us finishing in the top four, and I don't know why you're putting Arsenal in front of us. I think they've done better than us, and since they trashed Sevilla 6-0 or something like that in the preseason
Yeah,
game. I understand that they're coming in with some form behind the back in the preseason, so that could take it at least quite a quite a got a bit through the first few games, right? Because that's how you
Yeah.
set the pace for the rest of the season. And I don't know. I think Arsenal. I think we just probably will see a better performance from them all around. I think this season. Arteta has settled in his job. They've got a few players that are exciting. Jesus has gone there, so I don't know, man. It seems
It feels like every other team has just improved, and we've just been content with what we had. We're content with last season, and no
we've
one really
regressed,
cares.
Gary. That's what.
We,
That's what's we've
we
regressed.
actually, you're right. We've regressed because Pogba's gone, Matic
Matic
is
has
gone,
gone.
Mata's gone. All the
Yeah.
experience and
Lingard's gone, so we've not
and
we've. I mean, Lingard wasn't playing, so let's not even go there. But we have. Look, you can't have Pogba leave and bring in no one, right? That's just not right.
yeah.
I know you didn't get money for him. That's
Mm.
fine. Okay, I can understand that. But where is the strength? The okay, defense as well. We saw how horrendous Harry Maguire. He can't. He's slower than a Melbourne Victory forward. Now you can't expect the like him to defend like Salah
Uh,
and stuff like that in the league, right? So it was. Look, I think it'll be a challenging season. What killed it for me last season was the expectations I had. At least we're realistic with our expectations. This season, we know it'll be very hard for us to challenge for the top four. I'd never see myself make the statement ever. But then I think we just need to slowly adapt to the fact that we're not the United of the 2000s. We are who we
mm,
are today.
mm,
Um, and then yeah, I mean, less expectations. Not that I want to, but I think the data shows we have to lower our expectations, and it's fine
mm,
if we have to do worse to get better in the future. I don't mind. I don't mind going through the pain for the next couple of seasons at least until Ten Hag just reclaims everything, changes, brings in his own players. There's motivation in the team. Gary, when Leicester City
yeah.
won the league, they didn't have. They had two players who had outstanding seasons, right?
Mm,
You just need those two people to have phenomenal seasons. And for me, if Sancho and Martial have like the seasons of their lives, I think we will compete, right?
yeah.
But anyway, quick thoughts
Yeah.
on the game today, dude. How do you see we start up? Who do you think will? What do you think? Give me a scoreline prediction, dude.
I
Actually, first
think
talk me through
it's
the team and then give me the scoreline.
all right. So starting lineup, De Gea, left back. I think Malacia will start. Martinez will
Mm,
start left centre back. I think Maguire will come back and reclaim his right centre back spot. Dalot will play on the right as a right back.
yeah,
Midfield, no surprises there. McFred start again.
yeah.
And Bruno as the number 10.
Mm,
I feel that, yeah, the wingers, I think Rashford, no, actually, I think Sancho will start on the left if he's fit.
mm,
I think Rashford will potentially play up front.
mm.
And then right wing, I think it could be a case of Ilanga. Which brings me to the score line because essentially we are going to play with Rashford up front, which I have no confidence in. So I think we could potentially lose this game 1-0.
You're predicting for a loss.
Yeah, I think we're going to lose this game.
Um, okay, I have a feeling, and this is just if Sancho doesn't start, I think Ericsson will start, and then I
Mm,
think he'll play that floating in the middle. So I think he might if Sancho doesn't start. But I agree with you. I don't know if Ronaldo will start. I don't know if he starts. Then
mm,
all that credibility Ten Hag has built up, saying I'm going to penalize players for being not professional. I think all of that goes out the window if Ronaldo starts. I think he
yeah.
should keep
I
him
think
on
it
the
was
bench.
more a case about him not being fit than the actual incident with leaving the game early. I think he said that he's like 4 weeks away from being match fit.
Fitness,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I think that's more the
Yeah, I
reason.
think he's 4 weeks away from playing for Atletico Madrid as well. I think.
Yeah.
I hope so. But anyway, yeah, I think it'll be a draw. I put money on United drawing,
Mm,
so we'll see how that goes. I think we'll get dominated in the midfield. I think Welbeck will score for Brighton. He always has that pain in my ass. He is. So Welbeck will score. It'll be one of those really tight games. But
yeah,
I'm hoping we just squeeze a victory. We'll see. We'll see.
yeah, and it's actually, if you think about it, it could be a blessing in disguise because if we lose this game, there could be a bigger push to get new players in. So
Absolutely.
look at it from a positive standpoint. I mean, ideally, we want to win the game, but a loss will not be the end
It's
of the world.
Brighton, Gary. I think we could
Yeah.
do something against
This
Brighton.
this is exactly where we are, Chai. This is
Yeah.
exactly where we are. We go into this new season, and now the optimism's kind of fallen off. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. Anyway, yeah, we've done a prediction. So let's see what happens tomorrow. All right,
Okay.
guys. Yeah.
On that note, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I guess this is just our um, managing expectations what within the United fan base. I think the season will be a correction, and I'm hoping it'll be a correction for good. But please tune into our channel every week, where we keep posting videos, talk about what's happening around United transfers, at least till the window is open, and how we've performed. But if you're liking the content, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more interesting content to come up this season, I think.
Yeah, let's hope for a better season than last.
Yeah. We're so frustrated we stopped doing these videos because you could
So negative. Yeah, I think, let's hope we get more positive results. Chai.
on that note. So yeah.